Hello, John Talley here with Partzilla.com. Today I'm going to show you how to change out the front wheel bearings on our 2007 Suzuki GSX-R1000. Not too tough to do. Just want to lift up the table a little bit so it's easier to get to, take off that front tire, take it over to the teardown bench, and I'll show you how to get it done. So let's get started. Alright guys, this is not going to be that tough. It's just barely a skill level 2. So let's go over some of the tools you're going to need to pull this off. A 10 and a 12 and a 22 millimeter socket, a decent 3/8 ratchet, maybe an extension, a good hammer, a punch tool, and as always, a decent torque wrench. Now one specialty tool you're going to need to get is a bearing driver set. Pretty much need a wide range because what you're trying to do, or what you have to do, is actually match up the outer diameter of your bearing and your dust seal with the correct size driver so you don't damage either one. Now as far as the parts go, I'm actually using a complete kit that has all the parts necessary to do the front and rear wheel. But in this particular video, I'm only doing the front. So if you're only doing the front, why don't you reference our parts diagrams at Partzilla.com and you can pick out the pieces that you're going to need, which is basically the bearings and those outer dust shields. So once you've got your tools and your parts together, we can go over there and I'll show you how to get it done. So what I want to show you is these bearings are truly worn out on the front end. When I would push it around, it would go click, click, click. And now that we've got it lifted, I'm just going to rock it back and forth, but she'll move probably a 1/16 of an inch. I mean, that is substantial. At speed, that is enough to get you into a lot of trouble. So let's go ahead and get this front tire off and get it over to the teardown bench. Let's start off by getting these calipers out of the way. They were just held in by 4 12 millimeter bolts. Pretty simple stuff. Now let's just go ahead and back off on our pinch bolts at the end of the forks. That's just a 10 millimeter. Now I'm just going to get this axle bolt off. It's going to be a 22 millimeter. Now we should be able to just push our axle through and then lower the tire off. And there she is. Pretty simple to get this off. Now all we need to do is head over to the teardown bench and get those bearings swapped out. Okay, basically what you're looking at here is an outer dust seal, then there's going to be a bearing, and there's going to be a spacer, and on the other side a duplicate bearing and a duplicate dust seal. I'm actually going to be using a kit from Suzuki, but it includes the front and the rear bearings. Now if you need just the front, we'd be glad to sell you those. But if you're having a little bit of trouble up front, chances are your rear bearings are probably due to get replaced as well, as is the case with this particular machine. So let's go ahead and get that dust cover pried off on either side, and then we'll start driving those bearings out. A couple of different ways. You know, in the Suzuki manual, they actually have a dust seal removal tool. Looks like a pair of jaws, and just kind of pries it out. We're not reusing these, so typically I just put a flat blade screwdriver in there, turn up, it pops it right out. Let's do the same thing on the other side. That's pretty funny. Guess what? There was no dust seal on the other side. Gee, I wonder why the bearings failed. So let's continue on. Just feeling this bearing. It feels a little bit scratchy. I think that's where our problem was. Somebody decided they didn't want to put on a dust seal, and this is what happens. There's a couple of different ways you can do this. You can use what they call a blind bearing puller. It actually goes in there with a couple of jaws. You expand them out, pop them out. That works sometimes, but you have to take a lot of effort to pop it out. What I'm going to do is just lift it up, support the hub, and then just knock it out from both sides. What I've chosen as a collar that's going to fit is as close as I can get to that edge on the inside. And then I'm also going to put a cloth in there because I don't want to damage the hub, because it's going to be metal on metal. Now let's go ahead and get a punch, and we're aiming just for the inside of that race. Let's see if we can knock it out. There you go. I think it did. Let's go look. Yeah. There's our spacer. And there is our bearing. Look how nasty that is. So yeah, that's where all the looseness was. See how much I can move that? Whew, even stinks. Ugh. All right, that's one out. Let's go ahead and knock out the other one. There it goes. Not as bad as the other side, but still pretty rough. Next is a fair amount of dirt and debris. I want to get all that out of there. So let me get this cleaned up, then we'll continue. What I'm going to do is use just a driver to push this in, just hammer it in. Two things you have to be aware of. One, you don't want to hurt your disc on the other side by having it press against it anywhere. Second, when you're driving this in, you cannot drive by that intersection right there, that inner race. Because you do that, you're going to damage your bearing. Where you do want to get is all the way out to this edge right here. That's where you want to be. So whatever bearing driver set you're using, make sure it makes contact with that outer section and not the intersection. So this already has grease inside the bearing. We're going to pack a little bit more in there. And this is actually a product made by Yamaha, Yabalube Race Grease. Really good stuff here. So we're going to get just a little bit more of this. Finish packing the inside of these bearings. And you want the exposed surface to go inside. Before we start driving it in there, just want to take our hammer and lightly start bringing it in. This is pretty much just centering it. Make sure it's not one way or another. And that's just getting it started lightly. All right, I actually have this hub sitting on this surface. It's pushing directly into that center of the hub. This should not affect the brake disc on the other side. So let's go ahead and drive it in. If you feel it kind of starting to lean one way or another, like this one's trying to do, hold it over to that side and see if we can get it straightened back up. And when it bottoms out, it'll sound different. It'll have almost like a thud that it's driven all the way home. That's what we're after. There it is. All right, that is all the way in there now. We'll flip it over. We'll go ahead and do the other side. Then we'll do the dust seals last, one at a time. Very important. Don't forget this. Your spacer. So just go ahead and set it in place. Well, then we'll take our other bearing and add just a little bit more grease to the bearing surface. Just cramming it in there. Just a little more is not going to hurt it. All right, let's go ahead and get her started. There she is. Now we can go ahead and put in our dust seals. Once again, let's get some grease in that intersection. We should be able to use the same driver to go ahead and send that in. What you're looking for is it goes flush with it. So when you're using this, kind of bring it to the outside. That way it'll hit on the outside of the hub and not drive it too far in there. So you just want it flush with the hub. All right, that looks good. Let's flip it over and get the other side done. Then we'll be about finished with this one. A little bit more grease. Let's get it started. All right, let's go. All right, let's get it back on the machine and finish this job up. All right, we've pretty much got the wheel to go. Just make sure you put this collar on the right-hand side of the machine. Tell you what, we're going to clean this axle up real quick and re-grease it. Just want to get a thin coat of grease in this area, and then especially right there where that seal is going to be pushed through. All right, let's go ahead and lift her up, start feeding that axle through. Now we just want to put on the axle bolt just hand tight, to start with anyway. Well, let's go ahead and get the brake calipers back on. All right, let's go ahead and get those torqued down, and they're going to be set to 28 foot-pounds. All right, let's go ahead and get this front axle bolt torqued in. Hold that with a 24 millimeter on one side. All right, we're going to set it to 72.5 foot-pounds. There it is. All right, let's go ahead and set our pinch bolts to 16.5 on the right side first. And what we're going to do is drop it down. And we're just going to push down on the front end about 3 or 4 times. This just gets things centered. And now we can go ahead and do the left side pinch bolts. Now, just for kicks, let's lift it back up and see how it feels. Because remember before, you could sit there, I could click it back and forth. There's no play in it whatsoever. So, I feel a whole lot better about the front end of this machine. Well, listen, if you need any of the parts that we used, why don't you come see us at Partzilla.com and we can get you taken care of. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the section below and I'll do my best to answer them. Till next time, we just want to say thanks for watching.